Hello and welcome. My name is Amy Greil. I'm very pleased to be here again representing the City of Kenosha Commission on the Arts and our Kenosha Creative Economy Strategic Plan. We are here to speak with another visionary and leader in our community tonight regarding his views of the creative economy and sort of the direction that we're heading here in Kenosha. And we're just very pleased to say that this will be our final series for the KenoshaRising project, the series of community voices, and we've appreciated all the support and good vibes from the community. So with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Kristin Crowe.
Hi, I'm Kristin Crowe. I'm a senior at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside. I'm working with Amy and her team because I have an interest in qualitative data analysis for future career options, and I'm just very grateful for this opportunity.
Great. So let's kick off our interview here. So Kristin?
So Joe, could you tell us a little bit about what you do as far as like your involvement with Kenosha Unified?
Sure. I'm a retired superintendent 3 different times. Longtime principal at Bradford High School for 18 years, a middle school principal for 13 years, a teacher, so 39 years with Kenosha Unified. And now I'm president of Peace Learning Circles for Racine in Kenosha, and we're a bullying prevention group, and we do events and we work with 4th graders in schools on conflict resolution and peaceful ways of solving problems and working with one another in a peaceful manner.
All right.
Interesting. So yeah, we were very interested in interviewing Dr. Joe Mangi, known as Joe,
Yes.
because of his depth of experience with our formal education institutions here in Kenosha, and really interested in his views on how we can connect the arts and creativity to growth and prosperity here in our community. So following up, based on your experiences with Kenosha Unified, we are aware that KUSD is very strong in various arts programs, and we wondered what you see as potentially a link or sort of the value proposition between arts programs and formal education.
Well, Kenosha has probably the #1 musical theater program in the country with Holly Stanfield, and they do an amazing job with plays like Into the Heights and Raisin in the Sun and Dogfight and Rent. So they attack issues of diversity, of racism, of bigotry, bullying, all of those issues. And students are learning so much as part of this. And it's open to all of the high school students throughout the district. So you have musical theater, you have choir, band, and orchestra. They're amazing at every one of the schools, involving quite a lot of students. And what you see backstage is seniors and juniors mentoring and tutoring freshmen and sophomores between scenes or during rehearsals. So that's amazing in itself, because you're connecting the student body. Instead of seniors being, picking on the freshmen, they're sharing what they've learned and they're teaching. So what you see on the stage is the finished product, and it's absolutely amazing. But there's far more that goes on, and it's really connecting the student body. Back in the late 1990s, Holly Stanfield and myself created a school within a school at Bradford, a 4-teacher musical theater drama arts house. And so we had Holly as the drama teacher, Brad Mann as the choir teacher, Josie Williams as the scenic and set design teacher, and then we added dance. Joyce Donnell at the time was the certified dance teacher, and you kids could take dance for Phi Ed credit. So you put all of these together, and we built a program with 450 students. And it was just amazing, because it's something the student body was really, really proud of. So for every pep assembly that we put together, we also had a musical theater assembly. So we'd have all 2,000 kids come down to the auditorium in groups to make sure they could see a different form of talent that was just amazing. So we brought everybody together, and I think we really put a chink in the armor of bullying and those kinds of things. Our motto is practice peace, and I think we really exemplified that throughout the community. So that's an example of what can be done. And now there are musical theater programs at the middle schools. It encompasses a lot of students.
So would you say, Joe, that in, I guess, more formal classroom sort of learning, do the arts kind of reinforce that in your experience? Or how do those, you're talking certainly how important those relationships and sort of personal connections can be through the arts, but also does, in your experience, do those sorts of, I guess, learning experiences also reinforce traditional curriculum?
Oh, absolutely. Because you have, again, juniors and seniors tutoring freshmen and sophomores in English and math and science. If kids are struggling, they've got student mentors that are ready-made. And so the theater kids learn how to market, so that connects to the business program and the marketing program. There's a lot more that goes on. For example, moms are involved because they help sew the costumes, but so do the students in the family and consumer ed classes. The woods classes help with the scenic set design. So it's crossing the curriculum. It's connecting everybody together. It really involves the entire school. Business and marketing help advertise the program. They help with fund development. Certainly, if you're going to learn to memorize lines in a production, that connects to English, it connects to learning a second language, it connects to all kinds of things. Holly asked me for a fundraiser to be Doc, the old guy in West Side Story. I'm typecast as the old guy. So I gladly did it. It was amazing, but it isn't just memorizing your lines. You have to memorize the lines of the person before you and the person after you, because everything dovetails into one another. And a lot goes on backstage. The kids were really helping me. It isn't, you have to be limber and agile. You have to be able to move around the set as the set is moving. So the kids were helping me block and being in the right place at the right time. There's a lot more that goes on than just knowing your lines or your dialogue. So absolutely it connects to everything else. And with regard to the dancers, you could make a case that that's as strenuous as any exercise in Phi Ed, because they're moving constantly. They're jumping, they're leaping. It's pretty amazing to see kids in action.
So it sounds like the arts and all of these programs really reinforce a lot of skills that can be transferable in so many areas, and certainly in the classroom.
Absolutely. It gives students stage presence, so they learn the ability to get up in front of a group or an organization and be able to speak with poise and have that confidence that they can present themselves out in the world when they're looking for jobs or they're connecting. And it really teaches teamwork, because a production is based on teamwork, on everybody interconnecting. Holly also teaches the audience to be an integral part of the production, because an audience makes the people on stage better. Just as, the crowd might make the Green Bay Packers better because it's home field advantage, actors and actresses need that feedback also. And so a Friday night performance where everybody in the audience is really gung-ho and cheering every second is easier for the actors and actresses than maybe a Sunday matinee where everybody's kind of laid back and they're not getting that feedback. So we teach that the audience is an integral part of that. They're important.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting.
So we believe that the economy is shifting from an industrial-based economy to a more creative economy. I think with what you said, with developing a school within a school for the theater arts program,
Right.
that kind of places an emphasis on that development of the creative economy. Have you seen any other ways of, or like any other development in any other areas?
Absolutely. We try to, and with Peace Learning Circles also, we live in a society, where there are silos. People are compartmentalized, not just by race and neighborhoods, but also by age. Being a senior citizen, I see that all the time. You feel like you're invisible. So with Gateway, we connected senior citizens who need tech support, with their iPads, iMacs, iPods, whatever, with the Gateway senior students who need community service hours. In order to graduate, they need 100 community service hours. Most of the Gateway students are commuters. They don't really know anybody here. On this side, you have senior citizens and adults who know the basics of their tech hardware, but you can't really get any help unless you have somebody in the family. So we brought the two communities together. We've done this 2 years in a row, from Fridays from 11 until 2, and it was wall-to-wall people. And amazingly, at the graduation pre-ceremony with the tech students, they got more out of it than the senior citizens, because they learned how to deal with a segment of our community that they're going to have to deal with and work with out in the real world. So 2 years in a row, we've run this program. So it's about making connections. The second part is Carthage College, again, has students who need community service hours. As superintendent, we understood, the teachers, that kids in Head Start, 3-year-olds, 4-year-old kindergarten, 5-year-old kindergarten, kids in poverty hear 30 million fewer words than kids in affluent families by the time they reach first grade. So you have kids who come into first grade and they're already 2 years behind. We got the Carthage students to be readers 4 days a week, 1 hour a day, to our Head Start kids, our 3-year-old kindergarten kids. Our reading instructors gave them the books and the curriculum, just reading to kids, making that connection. Carthage College deducted $2,000 off of their tuition for every semester that they volunteered to do this. So you're bringing college students together with early childhood students. That's another way where you cross generations to make something positive happen. Those are the kinds of things that I think an economy, being creative regarding economy. Senior citizens are growing in number, and a lot of times they're lost. Mm-hmm. Technology is like learning a second language. It's hard for us, for our generation, where it comes relatively easily to young people like yourselves. So why not bring the two generations together? For us, it was really, really successful. So you can take that concept and expand it to include economy throughout the community. In other words, I would have a high school board of students, get all the marketing and business students together, work with the mayor, and the mayor puts out a problem and let the kids come up with solutions. This is how I would do it. Can you consider this? Bringing generations together. I'm a professor at National Louis University part-time, and I mentor people who want to be principals. Most of my schools are in Milwaukee, in the inner city. So here's an elementary school, and moms are working 2 jobs. Dads are kind of out of the picture. Who's the connecting population? It's the grandparents. Grandmas drop the kids off at school, grandpas pick them up. So we started a grandparents PTA. grandparents are really the glue a lot of times in a lot of families with all the babysitting they do. So why not bring them into the picture? And you could even, with grants or whatever, you could pay people to be mentors and tutors. It would help kids, would close the achievement gap for sure. It would make senior citizens feel needed. It would make high school kids, I learned from West Side Story, a lot of kids need money for college and they don't know where to go to get the scholarships. They're just kind of lost. Senior year should be a year of hope, of happiness, of achieving. But too many students are looking at this like, I can't afford this. This isn't for me. What am I going to do? Wasting talent, wasting the tremendous potential of our young people, to me, is horrific. And there are ways. So you pay kids to be tutors, let them earn some money in their teaching and learning skills on the side. It's all about bringing everybody together.
That is tremendous. So, I'm taking away a lot of good points. So you're saying, to the question of like growing an economy, we really need to look at like this full body of resources we have here, whether it's very young to very, senior
Sure.
or mature, however, the fact that we really need to, be engaging in meaningful ways, our whole breadth of resources here, human and otherwise. So, in educational endeavors and just connections, meaningful human connections. Really interesting perspective that we haven't heard yet in our conversation with other interviews.
Yeah, I definitely agree. No one group or demographic should be left out when it comes to that. So when looking at the creative economy as a whole, what do you think are specific components of the creative economy?
Well, again, it's using everybody, everybody needs to feel needed, from 5 years old to 95 years old, and bringing everybody together. There's a school in Colorado that's using its elementary students and working on poetry. So have you heard of the windshield wiper poetry? Kids are creating poems on really nice paper that was donated to them. And then they go around sticking them on windshields on cars. So when, a mom with 3 kids comes out from whatever store and is harried and, oh, wow, it's not a ticket. I wasn't parking illegally. It's a poem from Jonathan or Sheila or Hamad at the local elementary school. Kids get a kick out of it. They're learning skills in poetry. So you could market that. Wouldn't you guys want to get a really nice poem on your windshield? I would,
Fantastic. Yes.
So that's another example there are all kinds of examples like that of involving kids, and you could take it to build an economy. Give you another example. Martin Luther King, his day is coming up in January. Why does his day of peace only one day a year? So we all get out and celebrate for Martin Luther King Day on January 15th and the rest of the year. If you go to Washington, D.C. and see his monument, Martin Luther King, one of his quotes is, even if the world were to end tomorrow, I would still plant my apple tree. So you could teach kids gardening, you could teach them how to grow apple trees. What if every organization, college, company put an apple tree up to celebrate Martin Luther King Day all year round, and had the kids learn with orchard, farmers, growers, tree growers, whatever you want to call them, learn how to plant a tree and actually tend to it. In Seattle, there is a park in the middle of the city that's apple trees, cherry trees, vegetables, fruits, and anybody can walk into the park and take anything out of there that they want. It's a veritable fruit tree, orchard, plant, garden, vegetable park. So you walk through, meander through the park. We could create a park like that in Kenosha. We have green space where, you're hungry, you need an apple, it's there, you know, and you helped grow it. That's another example. You guys been to New York lately? Have you heard about the High Park? It's up in the air.
No.
So here's this old train track trestle that's up above the ground, and it goes for like 5 miles. So what are they going to do with it? The train's obsolete. They turned it into a park. It's the Skyline Park. So you can meander and walk and be physically fit for about 5 miles, look down at skyscrapers because it's a park up in the air. That's, you know, if you're going to travel, I highly suggest take a look at the Skyline Park in New York City. Take a look at the park in Seattle. What other communities around the country are doing, we certainly could do that here, and all that builds the economy. It brings tourists into town. It gets people to share and to, you know, kind of like the old bazaar, trading things that they're good at.
Interesting. So a lot of ideas in there, that are all hinging around the fact that we can use our, I guess, ideas, our local assets, and create something different, unique, but like rooted here to grow our own economy in an organic way. I mean,
Right.
taking models from perhaps other areas, but even finding our own recipes here. I mean,
Exactly.
fantastic. All right, so you've given a lot of different ideas as far as strategies, and I guess maybe even just hearing from you, have you seen our economy sort of shifting in a way that now new skills might be required, and we have to be thinking differently in this new sort of age where it's, you know, it's information, it's, you know, navigating this entire international sort of environment now where people, you know, is it different? Has it changed?
Yes, it has. The world has gotten smaller. I would recommend for every child entering school to learn a second language from day one. The world is smaller, and our kids right here, jobs are going to be at a premium. If you've been out to the East Coast, you see our graduate schools, our colleges are full of students from China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and they're all speaking a second language. Eastern Europe, Africa. If you go out to the West Coast, my youngest daughter lives in LA. It's the Asian population. Did you know, for example, because I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Iran, did you know there are 400,000 Iranians living in LA? They refer to it as Irangelis. All of these different peoples and cultures are all coming in, and usually things in our country happen on each coast first. So if I'm an employer and I have two students of equal skills, but one of them speaks 3 languages and the other one only speaks English, and I know we're living and working in an international economy, guess who I'm going to hire? So Janesville has a program, K-12, learning a second language. It can be Spanish or Chinese. MPS just allocated $1.3 million, and they're calling it their World Language Program. So their goal by 2020 is every student in their school district at MPS is going to be fluent in a language other than English by the time they graduate. They're going to have to take an exam. We should be doing that because our economy is international. It's not just here. So you're right, with the internet, with the information age, with the communication age, all that is crucial. In addition to learning skills of technology, I believe we should be able to navigate a second language. I would highly recommend that.
Fantastic. Well, I would like to sit here and listen to you all day because you really are a wealth of experience and you've lived it. It's clear to me as you sit here, you know, the depth of, I guess, of experience that you have to share. So I'm just very, very grateful for your time here today, Joe. And really, it's just a special way to end a project that, we hope has made some impact here in the community and broaden the conversation around our creative economy. So thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. I'm honored. Thank you for asking me. That's really kind of you.
We have loved it. So thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.